Good afternoon, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're having a great day on purpose. I'm going to give it a little bit for some people to join this live stream. I'm going to be providing you guys with an update on Bryan Christopher Kohberger. Bryan Kohberger is currently incarcerated in Lathrop County, Idaho, and he has been charged with quadruple homicide. So he's currently pending his trial. And finally, after almost a year and a half, I believe that the prosecution and the defense are finally coming closer to deciding a date because, I mean, it's been a long time. Hey, KK's mom, how are you? Hey guys, welcome. I'm doing a Bryan Kohberger. Hey guys, welcome. Hey, Daria? Yeah. Hey, Doris. I think that's how you pronounce it. But it's been a long time since these quadruples unalivings happened in Idaho to the 4 college students in that area in that early November morning in 2022. So, as we all can imagine, the family is definitely waiting on justice. The community, as well as myself, I'm waiting to see if they've got their right person because a lot of the evidence in this case has been sealed. Many of the affidavits, I even went today online just to check in on the case to see if any of the affidavits have been unsealed or if they added any additional information for me to kind of follow the case as far as paperwork wise. And on the Idaho website, believe it or not, they only have affidavits and documents updated through, what was it, July 23rd, I think, 2023. I started tripping out, guys. I literally started bugging because I was like, wait a minute, we're in 2024. But I forgot the prosecution as well as the defense have opted to seal a lot of documents, a lot of evidence. Affidavits are redacted in this case, like so redacted it doesn't even make as far as to follow the prosecution's theory or their evidence. It's very difficult. Names are redacted, certain information's they're keeping it close to the vest, I believe, because the prosecution wants to ensure a win in this case. They have asked for the unalive penalty in this case. So the stakes are extremely high, not just for the prosecution, but for the defense as well. And for those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. Please be sure to smash the heck out of that like button for me one time. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get into this update video. This is, it's a brief hearing, but you'll find out the actual date. We'll find out the actual date of, well, I can't say actual. Let me pump my brakes real quick. Can't actual date. I must say potential date. Because they're kind of shooting for a month next year. So let's get into it, guys.
CR 2922-2805. Present in the courtroom is led by Ms. Taylor and Ms. Bassett and Longston are participating over Zoom remotely. The state is represented by Ms. Lynn and Ms. Jennings, Layton County Prosecutor's Office, and Mr. Nye and Ms. Beatty are participating over Zoom remotely. So we're here for a and I think for about 13 months.
Right, the southern border in Texas is still letting migrants in, and guess what? The gov's handing out.
Sorry, guys.
Arraignment, and I think at this point, this is one that we're getting to the point of diminishing returns, and I sent to council last Friday on a proposed scheduling order for a lot of things, deadlines, including setting the trial. And so I also have set this hearing so that we can discuss this and see where everybody is. So,
thank you, Your Honor. We reviewed the court's proposed scheduling order. We are agreeable to it. It makes sense that we do the trial in the summertime when high school is out, and the schedule that Your Honor proposes is acceptable date. I would note minor detail that June 19th is also legal. The court specified July 4th that wouldn't be able to hold trial, but sure, 17th as well. Other than that, we have no objection to the court's proposal.
All right, thank you. I mean, as I went through all of this, I mean, there's going to be a lot of motions. There already has been, and significant amount of work, as we all know. When I tried to balance this out, I do think it was it's pretty fair, balanced, and I hope realistic. So, Ms. Taylor.
Thank you, Judge. Your Honor, first, has listed this as taking place in Layton County. We haven't been heard on our change of venue yet. That's to come.
Totally understand that.
So I don't want anybody thinking I'm agreeing. The June of 2025, that work.
Restream is pausing. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Restream. Restream is pausing. It keeps, so it's cutting it up. I'm gonna give it a second. Let me give it a second, guys. Okay, all right. I think it's all right now. Hey, BB London, how are you?
Thank you, Your Honor.
I brought it back a little bit.
The court's proposed scheduling order with the attorney team, and we are agreeable to it. It makes sense that We do the trial in the summertime when high school is out across, and the schedule that Your Honor proposes is acceptable to the state. Note, just minor detail.
I don't know what is wrong with
July
Richmond today,
19 is
y'all.
also a legal holiday. The court
It is
specified
cutting
July
up.
4th as a legal holiday. We wouldn't be able to hold
Y'all,
trial.
see,
Share routine
I'm
as well.
telling you.
Other than that, we have no objection to the court's proposal.
All right, thank you. I mean, as I went through all of this, I mean, there's going to be a lot of motions, a lot of hearings, a lot of work. There already has been a significant amount of work, as we all know. And when I tried to balance this out, I do think it was it's pretty fair, balanced, and I hope realistic. So, Ms. Taylor.
Thank you, Judge. Your Honor, first, I know the court has listed this as taking place in Latah County. We haven't been heard on our change of venue yet. That's to come.
Totally understand that.
So I don't want anybody thinking I'm agreeing to Latah County. That's all. The June of 20.
Let me just interject here as far as the change of venue that his defense attorney is presenting right now. First of all, for those of you who are not aware, Bryan Kohberger is probably the luckiest man, well, I should say luckiest defendant sitting in the state of Idaho right now, because he has the best public defender at his side. For her to present change of venue during this hearing and also during previous hearings, she is presenting something that will definitely be something that can be brought up on appeals. Let's say the judge decides not to change venue and her client is found ultimately guilty. In this high of a profile case, change of venue can be an issue on appeal. It can. It definitely can. They're doing surveys in the area, and from what they've explained to the judge and the court is that the community outlook on her client is not favorable. A lot of them have been watching the news, watching social media, know about the case, know about erroneous details that were put out there by social media, disinformation, certain specific information that, a potential juror should not have prior to seeing all of the evidence. So she's doing an amazing job here. Guys, please be sure to smash that like button if you're enjoying the content. Thank you.
25, that's the time frame that we have been working towards. I come in there, we're working towards that date. I think it's reasonable to set that date. As the court's aware, mitigation is something that takes a significant amount of time. We've had that underway since the day we took this case. We continue to work that very hard. I spoke with our mitigation expert last night about this date. And there's a lot of work yet to be done, but we're still working towards that. So I think it's reasonable to set that. I just want the court to know that that's not finished at this point. That's very much ongoing, and new things are coming out that we need to follow up. But with that said, I think it's reasonable to go ahead and pick the June of 2025 as a trial date at this time.
And by the way, I think you understand that, all counsel understand that, but this is a 3-month trial. So I was calculating.
Did you hear him say that it's going to be a 3-month trial? He is projecting a 3-month trial on the calendar, guys. I'm planning to attend this trial in person, but I am going to let you guys know I'm not going for 3 months. 3 months? What? I don't want to I don't want to be in Idaho wherever the trial is taking place for 3 months. So I'm going to pick my points and I will be out there I can commit to 1 month. I can literally commit to just 1 month, if not like the final 2 weeks, to see what the outcome is, because Court TV, I'm sure, is picking this up. Law and Crime, I'm almost certain is picking this up as well. But 3 months, I don't know about that. I have a colleague who is contemplating also attending this trial, but I don't know if he is going to be wanting to do 3 months in Idaho. Like, can you imagine me in Idaho, guys? I don't know. I don't know, guys.
2 weeks to set the jury, then 8 weeks of trial, and then 2 weeks for mitigation and sentencing. And I mean, that's a guess, but I think it's enough time for all of those things to take care of. And obviously, the last 2 weeks would only be if Mr. Kohberger was convicted.
Learn about crypto and get rewarded as you learn with Coinbase Learning Rewards.
Hold on, guys.
paid
We
out
got a
over
commercial. There we go.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. I do want to bring up a couple of issues I have with some of the deadlines. I looked this over. Our team has talked about it. I've gone over this with Mr. Kohberger. I do have a couple of concerns about the deadlines, and I'll just bring those up to the court for the court's consideration. As far as motions challenging the death penalty, and that's in right under motion practice letter A that the court has on its draft, we can have a lot of those filed by September 5th. I would note for the court that that's ahead of the state's final discovery date, and that's ahead of the state's deadline to produce its aggravation case that it will use. We can meet this September 5th deadline, but we're going to ask the court to give us a little leeway when there's something new that comes our way. If there's an amendment to a motion or a new motion that becomes relevant based on something new, with like a 2-week window after receiving something new to file that. But the bulk of it we can get in by the deadline that the court has asked here, and that's just not a problem.
Sure, I understand that. I mean, I looked at that. I wanted to have that early because, you know, it's a bigger question.
Yeah.
And I was aware of the Ross case. I think you had 16 motions in that case. So I wanted to sort of address those issues early.
And Your Honor, we can definitely do that. We can address a lot of things early. We just don't want to be precluded from bringing an amended motion or a new motion if something new is filed that would have been relevant to something we've already filed.
I'm not going to prevent you from doing that.
Perfect, thank you.
And by the way, a lot of these deadlines, I mean, you can certainly do them earlier if you'd like to. I would encourage everybody to do that. Thank you.
Your Honor, then moving on, the motions in limine under letter C, the court has suggested February 13th as the date for that. I think in large part we can do some by then, but the exhibits that we'll exchange and witness lists that we'll exchange aren't due until after that. And again, I think there might be additional motions that would be relevant after those things have been exchanged. So if the court wanted to move the whole deadline so we had all of those motions in limine at once, I think that would be reasonable. But if the court wants to keep this deadline, as long as we have the ability to bring more motions in limine based on new filings, we'll be okay with that.
Sure. And I was also thinking about, you know, I guess experts, for example, I mean, they may have longer hearings that, you know, we're going to have to work through all these things. I mean, this is just a structure.
Thank you. The court had listed March 14th as a trial brief date, and that is ahead of some of the other deadlines. recognizing that the trial is the innocence phase and the sentencing phase, if it happens, is the mitigation and aggravation. I would just say this is a fine deadline, but we won't be touching anything to do with our mitigation by then, if that's what the court anticipated.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
I think when we had March 3rd for mitigation, I figured by then he would pretty much have that in hand.
We should, we hope to. That brings me to the last point I wanted to talk about. The court has proposed setting a mutual exchange of aggravation and mitigation materials, and I'd ask the court to reconsider that. We will aim for our March 3rd deadline. That's our plan right now. If something changes that, then we'll come back and let the court know and talk to counsel. But would ask that the state's aggravation package be provided to us earlier than the same day as our mitigation. Should we get to that point, the state has the burden of establishing the statutory aggravators. There are some things I think I might be able to guess about how the state's going to try to, I should have to guess. I think to have that information well ahead of providing the mitigation that will be presented in response to any aggravating information that's presented by the state. So I'd ask the court to set the date for the state to produce its information much earlier than ours. The state filed its notice a year ago yesterday, and I have a lot of questions about what the state would intend to use to try to establish many of the statutory aggravators they've listed. I know I've heard the court talk about super due process in a capital case, and I think it's appropriate for us to be on notice and be provided discovery, to be provided a full range of what the state intends to use to establish those if we ever get to that point. And I think we need those ahead of our deadline for mitigation. So I'd ask the court to move that deadline up quite a bit earlier. And that's it.
Thank you very much. Mr. Thompson, do you have any issues about having these aggravation in advance for a period of time?
No, sir. As long as we will have the ability to supplement that once we see whatever the defense plans to offer in the way of mitigation.
Well, I'm appreciating that, with these deadlines, that we're going to have supplement all the way along. I just don't want to be scrambling around a month before the trial. We're all going to be very, very busy. And the more we can resolve certain motions, supplements, whatever we need to do, I'm trying to do this sooner than later.
Yes, sir. And that's our preference as well.
And Ms. Taylor as well.
Yes, Your Honor.
But just to make sure, though, you have to do your job, and the state has to do its job, and I have to do my job. But I think this is a great step, okay, to set these deadlines and hearings so that we can move through this. It's going to take a while, but anything else we need to address today, Mr. Thompson?
I don't believe so. Thank you.
Ms. Taylor?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay, well, it's very short, and I'm grateful that everybody's working together. Thank you. Okay. Take care, everybody. We are adjourned.
All right.
Okay, guys. So there you have it. The Bryan Kohberger case potentially could occur June 2025. And the Judge John Judge, that's his name, is penciling in a total of 3 months for the trial process. They said 2 weeks for jury selections to get a jury seated, and then they would commence to the trial. And if he's ultimately convicted, then 2 weeks after that. I mean, 3 months. I mean, it's quadruple on Aliving, but I don't know, 3 months. Are you guys following the Young Thug trial? But I guess because there's so many defendants and it's a RICO trial, that's why it's going on so long. At any rate, guys, I just wanted to come and give you guys this quick update on Bryan C. Kohberger. I will be coming back with a new case that I will be following. Don't really want to say too much about it because I'm still doing some research on it. But you guys, be good to yourselves, be good to others. Until next time, have a great day. Well, actually, I should say have a great morning, afternoon, or night based on wherever you're tuning in from. Until next